Lorenzo.
Hey, Borino, what's going on, man?
Oh, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm well. I was looking forward to chatting with you, man.
Same here, man. Same here.
All right. The recording is on. We're going to make you a YouTube rock star. How about that?
Sounds great to me. Sounds great to me.
All right. So this is what we're going to do. We have about half an hour or so. I want to answer all your questions. I want to make sure you walk with plenty of information. We'll take a quick look, see where you are, see how I can help you. Anything goes. Is there anything in particular, anything specific that you wanted to address?
Okay, let me give you, I guess, a quick backlog real quick.
Okay.
I come from a design and animation world. Okay, complete right brain world. And I just ventured into real estate about 6 months ago.
Okay.
Full time. Went into it. I basically got laid off my industry, and I could either at that point perceive to keep doing what I'm doing or go into real estate. And I wanted to go into real estate. You have to know your why you're doing things. I have this big idea where I want to do certain things to help other people. That's kind of my idea. In the interim, also, I'm not looking for house or cars. My goal is to create experiences through vacations, like you were talking about Czechoslovakia, and you take your family.
Yeah.
I also want to do that. That's what I want to create, memories. Those are my my boards per se. I've jumped into this real estate stuff. I've had four sales on the buyer side, and my first listing just this month. And I was originally on a team. And, once I saw the payment structure, it wasn't going to be sustainable for what I was doing. So I figured I've learned everything else on my own. Might as well just jump on my own doing this now. I jumped on your program. I bought all your books. I read your Expired Plus. I devoured it. I've been into the Borino listing videos. I've gone through a bunch of those. And so what the point that I'm at right now is that I've overcome the drunken monkey of being able to call people. I've figured out what to use. I joined RedX for a 30-day trial. Did that. I've been practicing with Roxy Knight every day. We do our back and forth.
Very cool.
We do our role playing, and got to the point where I talk to people. I get them to let me into their door, and I drop off the package, but I can't convert. That's the challenge that I'm having right now. Excellent.
Well, you're in a good point. And first, kudos. You went through the material. You'll be surprised how many people get it. They're like, oh, kumbaya, not do much with it. So that alone puts you ahead of the pack. That's one. Two, you're out there hustling. You getting over the initial fear, which is normal, not feeling comfortable talking to people. You know my story, how I was stuck in a car for 25 minutes and not being able to get my ass to talk to expired. So it's normal. But I very much appreciate you being willing to get out there and just get it done, which is awesome. That's great. So you're in a good place. Question for you. What helped you the most to overcome the initial resistance to call people and visit people? How did you go about it? Give me one or two things that worked for you the best.
For me, it's first and foremost. For me, it's more of a biblical thing. My strength comes from God, and for me, it's prayer that helps me. And whether people call it universe, prayer, whatever it is, for me, it's God that helps me. And then second is that I've come from kind of similar to you. Parents are immigrant, blue collar workers, worked my way up. And if there's anything that I've learned throughout the process has been to be tenacious. And that tenacity has transcended into everything that I do. And I've always adopted the philosophy, if somebody else is doing it, why can't I?
Excellent.
So it was just a matter of me, of knowing what to say. And I think the biggest drunken monkey was, like you said, looking like a fool and not knowing what to say when they tell you something and you're like a deer caught in headlights. But if I could learn a couple keywords and fake it till I make it, that was my goal, where I said, you know what, I'll fake it. I don't care. I can act the role. I can act like the professional and kind of swarming with this thing. But now I'm getting to the point where I'm learning terminologies and I'm trying to actually incorporate them. But to answer your question, for me, it was prayer. And it was just, my life has always been a tenacious type of personality, just to overcome it. Do it. Other people have done it. Why can't you?
Outstanding. That is really good. You're on the right track. Okay. So now let's take last 30 days. How many expired listings over the last 30 days, did you either visit in person where you had a conversation, or over the phone you had a conversation? Give me your best guess.
Yes. Over the last 30 days, I've visited about 3 to 4 people.
You had 3 or 4 conversations in the last 30 days.
Yes, with
Okay.
people that I actually went to their house and I spoke to them.
Excellent. And out of those 3 to 4 people, or let's go with 3 if you're certain that's the right number.
Yeah, because one of them was an absentee. The house was vacant, and I was just talking to him. Never saw him in person.
Gotcha. Okay. So out of those 3, how many do you consider to be leads where you feel like they either going to relist or they're going to do something sooner or later?
Well, based on the core drive of what you're talking about, out of those 3, one of them will actually list because they have a reason why they have to sell. They're going into their senior home and they have to sell. Okay, perfect. So you have 1 lead. Yes.
Out of the 3. What are you going to do with the other 2?
The other 2, I'm doing the Borino where I'm dropping the mail and I'm sending them the postcards or whatever, the paperwork, and I'm not really calling them again because their personalities weren't like, it was, I get it. They were, pissed off at their past realtors, and I let them just vent and talk about it, and I transitioned into kind of my sales point, and we got along good. We were amicable, but the point was that I didn't see that core drive in them. So I'm just like, okay, I'm still just touching them through those postcards.
Do you feel like they may be doing something down the road? Is there a possibility?
I feel they will, but I feel that they also haven't realized that point where they said, well, I'm not overpriced. It's just, I haven't done no upgrades, but I'm not overpriced. They haven't come to that realization.
So lower motivation, but possible sellers.
Yes.
Okay. So you have 1 good hot lead, A lead, and you have 2 like a B-level leads, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what do we do with those? How do we convert them into listings? Would that be a time well spent if we talk about that?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, good. So having this kind of conversation on the phone in person is by far the most effective way to do that. Yes, it's a little more time consuming. Yes, it requires good approach and a strong communication skills. But you build a connection and a relationship a lot faster that you could not do with some kind of passive method. So that's really good. So let me give you a few things that we'll discuss. First, I would increase this number if you can. Now, I know you can only work with as many expireds as there are. If you can incorporate older expireds, go back 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, fantastic. Same approach, same marketing, same systems, everything stays the same. So bump this up, because here's the math. If you can do 30, and out of those, be conservative, let's say half only turn into into leads. Now you have 15 potential leads. That's a much better number than to have 1 hot and 2 B level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that would be the first thing I would focus on. Do maybe 2 or 3 of those a day if you can. Now, I understand it's not always possible. Not everybody's home. It's not that easy to reach people. But if you can do 2 a day, 5 days a week, that's 10 a week. That's 40 a month. That's a boatload of potential good leads and listings. Okay? So that'd be step 1. See how you can bump this number up. Step 2 is you're going to divide your leads into A's, B's, and C's. A, it's pretty much guaranteed they're going to do something.
Right.
If they're going to go back to their previous agent or find another agent, there is a good indicator. They're motivated. They're going to do something. So the first thing you're going to do is the sequence in the follow-up of the Expired Plus is going to kick in right away. You did the step 1, which is you introduced yourself. Step 2 is you're going to give them the package. Fantastic. That's a really good intro and a solid base on which you can build. The very next thing you're going to do is you're going to send them a thank you card.
Yes, did that. You
did that. Fantastic. Yes. Well, you're on the ball, dude. We can finish. We're done. You're doing everything right. So you're going to send them a nice little handwritten thank you card. Do you send out cards or do you use handwriting?
Handwriting. Thank you so much for taking the time to show me your house. I try to create a memento of something that we spoke about. There was like a sewing machine. Thank you for bringing back memories. Make some sort of emotional attachment to it. And I sent it out. Yes.
Look at you, rock star. You got this. You totally understand the concepts. That's really good. So you're going to do that. You're going to do that with these as well. Same concept. Because here is the rule that I follow that served me well. Until I'm 100% certain they're not qualified, not motivated, or they're pain in the ass. Like you said, some of the personalities you don't want to work with, it's fine if you want to drop them, but be certain it's a personality and it's not just like a mental cover-up because underneath they're afraid to talk to salespeople. Right. It's that knee-jerk reaction. You walk into a store, you have a wallet ready, and somebody approaches you and says, no, thank you, I'm just looking. It's the same thing. So if you kind of debate, I would always treat everybody as a good potential lead until I'm certain that that's not the case. Right. Okay? Yeah. So send them a nice card too. Hey, nice chatting with you. If things don't work out with your current agent, if that's what they want to do, or if you ever change your mind down the road, I'll be happy to chat with you later. Boom. Simple. Okay? But they all should get something tangible right away. because this reinforces your name, your face, the connection that they have with you. And then these folks here going to go on an intense follow-up. And the follow-up curve will be like this. You're going to start pretty aggressive, and you're going to start dropping it off. That means a lot of frequency here, and then less.
Okay.
That's step one. Step two is the approach with these people will be, they will receive the same material, same sequence, just not as aggressive. The frequency doesn't need to be as aggressive.
Okay.
All right. So with these folks, I would start every 4 days or so.
4 days.
About every 4 days, ping them with something. Now, when I say something, you have the sequence in the Xspark Plus. If you just follow that, it's fine. Or at this point, because you already have a conversation with them, you can pull some of the things that initiate that conversation, like the letters. They're designed to start the dialogue. So you can take those out and you can replace them. What can you replace them with? You can send them things like market updates. What's going on in the neighborhood? There's a new listing in the area. There is a new sale in the area. I'm going to be doing an open house. Anything that is, here's the general rule for your follow-up. Anything that is interesting, engaging, relevant to the seller, and fun to receive. Like it's not boring salesy stuff. What you want to stay away from is anything that promotes you, your company, that smells of marketing and selling. Pull that out, okay? Now, here's another secret I'm going to give you. The fact that you're keeping in touch here, I pulled my neck yesterday. It's really hard for me to turn back. So the fact that you're keeping in touch here is way more important than how and with what. Because no matter what you send them, whether it's a nice postcard, a market update, most of the stuff's going to go in the trash. So it's not like a beautiful artifact that they're going to frame and put on the wall.
Right.
You know what I mean? So don't overthink it too much. It's the fact that you keep pinging them, that your name is in front of them at all times, and you're linking you real estate, you helpful, you providing information. That's what counts the most. Make sense?
Yeah.
So ping them every 4 days, and you can ease into every 7 days, maybe every 10 days. Here is a rule. If you stretch it more than 14 days, they're going to start forgetting who you are. It's because there are other agents going after them, because they have 175 different things on their mind, because they're busy, people get distracted, especially this day and age. We live at 200 miles an hour. We're bombarded by so much distractions, your phone, computer, kids, life. So at least every 14 days, they need to be reminded, Renzo's here to help. I'm your guy.
But do you think, I remember you said something about a phone call would be better than a letter.
Excellent question. The best way to mix this all up, these steps, are if you mix up all the channels. In other words, if you have their phone number, call them once in a while. Now, here's what you don't want to say. Hi, this is Renzo with ABC Real Estate. I wanted to see if you're ready to list. Because all that beautiful relationship and that positioning you accomplished up till that point goes out the window.
Yeah.
You just become like every other agent, calling them like just another salesperson who is desperate for a listing, who doesn't give a shit about their situation and them. So don't do that. Other than that, you can do anything else, same concept, that's helpful, interesting, engaging to them. So what can you talk about? So let's say you're my seller. I'll be calling, hey, Renzo Borino with ABC Real Estate. Just wanted to give you a quick heads up. Remember that property we talked about on Green Street? Just wanted to let you know it's sold. Now I have something interesting to talk about, interesting bits of information. Doesn't need to be earth-shattering.
Right.
You know what I mean? Doesn't need to be huge. Just something valuable.
Right.
What's the first question they're going to ask?
How much do they sell for?
Bingo. Now you're positioning yourself as an expert. Because you have the information, you hold the keys. Make sense?
Yeah. But when I do tell them that, Borino, if I tell them the price, what's the ultimate goal? Is just to deliver that information or to transition into somehow?
Fantastic question. You will have two types of leads as you do this process. And that doesn't go just for expireds, any real estate leads. You're going to work with two types of leads. Let me just wipe this out so we start fresh. So this is clear so far, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Is that helpful?
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right. So you're going to work with two types of leads. You're going to have potential leads and actual leads. So let me give you an example. Potential lead is you have an ad on Craigslist that's a for sale by owner.
Right.
You reach out and send a quick email. No response. It's still a lead, but it's a potential lead. What happens here is you have no conversation and no contact. In other words, there is no dialogue going back and forth. They can still be a great lead. They can still turn into a good listing. And many expireds and FSBOs will start as potential leads. Your call to action with them is let's talk. You want to have a little conversation. Like you said, you want to feel out. Are they motivated? Core driving emotion.
Right.
Are they decent people? Do they have a problem that you can solve by selling their house? You start feeling it out. It will not happen on the first conversation. In most cases, it's impossible. You're just a stranger. You can be a serial killer for all they know. You know, they don't trust you. So you build that relationship and connection with them. So your target is to have a conversation with them. The moment you have a conversation with them, they're going to become an actual lead. The difference between these two is you had a conversation with them. So you at least have some kind of idea who they are and what they're trying to do, and same with them, hopefully. That they remember you, they know you. Yeah?
Yeah.
There, your call to action is, let's get together, appointment. That's your objective.
Right.
That is your goal.
Yeah, I want to see the house. I want to see the upgrades, everything you've done to
Exactly.
it. Right.
And if you already sold the house, like with some of these expireds, the idea is, let's get together.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I call the bridge. You've seen the bridge. It's in the listing appointment. It's in the presentation plus in the expire. I pretty much use it anywhere. Now, going back to these guys, they can still be a good listing. I had people call me 8 months later on my follow-up I had never talked to. Out of nowhere, my phone rings. This is Mr. Smith over on Oak Avenue.
Right.
We've been seeing your name. We've been getting your stuff. We want to sit down with you and talk about selling our house. No idea who they are. Potential lead, but they've been getting pinged, they respond. Sometimes, not always. It is much easier if you have some kind of interaction with them.
Right.
But sometimes you got to do what you got to do and do your best with what you got. Okay?
Okay.
So is that clear?
Yes.
So your objective is always move these here and move these into a client. It's a 3-step process. Sometimes you skip straight to this. That's possible as well. All channels means you text them, you call them, you send them a video, you send them an email. All this can be automated. What kind of CRM do you use right now, Renza?
Well, I just got Lion Desk right
Excellent.
now.
That's a really good, robust system. I highly
Okay.
recommend it. Good choice.
Right.
Good. So a lot of that follow-up can be automated there. What you're going to insert in there, and when the real magic happens, is when you talk to them.
Right.
Think about it this way. All of this stuff we talk about here, I could probably do a video about it, or I could write a booklet about it. Well, you actually have the book. It's in the Expire Plus.
Yeah.
But the experience is different as opposed to us having a conversation right now. You know what I mean? It's a different dynamic. So you want to integrate these conversations. They can be brief, simple, whether a little text exchange or a phone call exchange or even visit, because that's where the real magic happens. Because the bottom line is the reason they will select you as their agent has nothing to do with years in the business, the size of your company.
They like you.
They like you. They
Right.
trust you.
Yeah.
You're their guy. You're their best choice.
But what's the frequency on the potential lead? You call,
question.
they don't answer.
Your frequency here needs to be more frequent than with the actual leads, because there is no relationship and there is no communication yet. So that ramp up starts steep.
Okay.
Okay? If it's a good lead, it's in a good desirable neighborhood, the property looks really nice, and I suspect because they've been on the market a couple times already, so there's a pattern that they're relisting and relisting, they keep trying, maybe a couple of price reductions. I would consider a really good lead. I would hit them out every day.
So what's hard every day? Give me a number. How many times you're calling a day?
Oh, not just calls. I would put them on a mail follow-up immediately. I would drop the package immediately. I would go back at least 2 times.
In the day?
Well, no, within a few days, the visit.
Okay.
Okay, so I would try in the morning, early in the morning. They're not home. I would leave the package there, leave a little note there, you know, the whole thing. Try calling, nobody answers. I would text if I can, send them an email if I can. Start the mailing campaign, I would go back at night.
Okay.
I would revisit. If I still can't get hold of them, Saturday morning. If I still get hold of them, Sunday night. It requires an aggressive approach.
Okay.
But you know, if it's $8,000, $10,000 on the line.
Yeah, I just don't want to pass the threshold of psychotic and, you know, aggressive. You know what I mean?
I hear you. But I'd rather be a stalker than lose the listing.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because what's the downside to it?
Yeah, no, that's it. That's it. That's all I can tell you. But the upside is you can get the listing. Yeah.
And I'll take that. For $8,000, I'll be doing some stalking.
Right.
I will chase them down on Facebook if I can, on LinkedIn if I can. I will open as many channels as I can.
Gotcha.
Because here is my conviction. It is more than just the money. I believe, well, not anymore, but when I was actively doing this, that I'm their best choice. That I'm the best thing that can happen to them, in spite of them not being able to see it yet. You follow me?
Yes.
I believe that them listing with me is the best thing that can happen to them.
Okay.
That I'm the solution to their problems. And if it means I got to hustle and I got to be more aggressive than everybody else, and I have to take steps like checking out if I can connect with them on Facebook and LinkedIn and mailing them shit and doing all that stuff. Yes, occasionally, not very frequently, but occasionally somebody gets pissed off. I'll get a call. You send me so much shit, take me off our list.
Yeah.
But here's my answer to that. And I would say, John, I really appreciate it. And I don't mean to annoy you. That's not my goal. But think about it this way. Let's say you decide to put the house back on the market 6 months from now. Would you go back to that lazy agent who didn't do anything for you? Or would you rather have a hustler, an aggressive agent like me trying to find you a buyer and work my ass off 12 hours every single day? Who would be a better choice for you?
Right.
Well, I know, you know.
So it's about adopting a paradigm of no longer just saying, I need to get the sale, but it's the most of saying is like, they need me because I'm the best thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I'm willing to do what it takes. I am willing to do what it takes. Not what's comfortable or what I think will work or what's safe. What it takes. What is the most effective way to help these people? Yeah?
Noted.
So it is a different mindset. And like you said, but you already have that tenacity, and that intensity is essential in this. Because if you don't have it, somebody else does.
Right.
And here's the thing. There is no second place in real estate. There's no silver medal. It's all that you got it or you don't.
Yeah.
You either win or you lose. That's it. I like to win. I can be very competitive, you know, especially if I know that the other choices are not as good as me. And it pisses me off if I see somebody else getting like, fuck, that should have been mine. I can help these people. Now, you call it big ego, you call it whatever you want. I just believe I can do a good service for my clients. Okay? So going back to this, you keep in touch with them. Postcards, market updates, thank you card, open house invitations, just listed, just sold, all that is good. Now, with that, you're going to combine it with emails, if you have it. If you can get their email, awesome. You can also ask them when you talk to them in person, hey, what's your email, by the way?
Okay.
Simple, easy, non-obtrusive. Get their contact info, keep in touch. Now the bridge. You have a conversation with them, and they're indicating, you're getting indicators of interest, IOI. So you talk to them, and you say, well, Renzo, let me ask you a question. Buyer walks in tomorrow, suitcase full of cash. They fall in love with your house, just like you guys did when you first saw it. What would you do? And let them answer. What you want to pay attention to is not just the words, but the emotion, the energy. Because you already understand they're going to make an emotional decision, not a logical decision.
Right.
There ain't nothing rational about the way these people make decisions. And it's not because they're stupid or anything. It's because that's how people make decisions.
Right.
That's what triggers is the emotion. So that's what you're fishing for. Okay? So you let them answer and pay attention. What energy, what attitude you sense. Because if you start hearing like excitement and hope and possibility, which is exactly what you're after, now you got something.
Right.
Okay, so that's the question you're going to ask. Now you can modify the question, ask it any way you want. You're not promising them a cash buyer, and you're not promising you're going to sell it in a day. But is it a possibility? Can you sell it quickly? Can you have a cash buyer? It's a possibility, of course. Okay?
Okay.
So ask them, what would you do? Buyer walks in tomorrow. They love the house. They want to buy it. The price is good. Would you consider it? And if they say anything other than hell no or jump in a lake, you're on. It's on. Okay? So then you do the bridge. And then you say, and again, you do it in a very soft, you don't have to push. This is nothing about closing or being salesy. But here's the language. You're going to say, well, let's do this. Why don't we get together tomorrow for 20, 30 minutes? And let's go over what is the most a qualified buyer would be willing to pay right now. How long would it take realistically to get it sold so you guys can enjoy that lovely condo down in Florida? Is there anything we can do to enhance the property? Any repairs we got to do? And then you decide. Maybe this is a good time to do it, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not here to pressure you or make decisions for you. My job is to provide enough information so the decision you guys make is the best one. So let's meet tomorrow. How about 4:35? Would that work for you?
Okay.
And some say yes, some say no, some say maybe, and whatever. But
so it's offering the package, saying somebody comes in with a suitcase of money. Would you sell based on their emotion of that? And then you say, okay, let's do this. Let's get somebody tomorrow. Let's see what the successful people have had. Let's see what the not successful people have, where we are, what we could do to enhance this, and see if it's a place for you to sell or not, correct?
The language there needs to be very specific. What is the most a qualified buyer would be willing to pay? I don't want you to memorize it. It's not a script.
Right.
But that's the message, because they want to know, well, what's the most we can get for it? That's the hook. And you're going to show them. The most we're going to get for it right now is $375,000. It's not what it's worth. That's not what we're here for. We're here to figure out what is the most the buyer is willing to pay and the bank is willing to lend, which is what we call the market value, not the property value. In your mind, it can be worth $700,000. I respect that. I appreciate that. But that's not why we're here. Okay? So that's the language. Now, some will say yes, some will say no. Those that say no, guess what? Back on the follow-up they go. Back on the follow-up they go. You don't just drop them because they said no, because very often that no just means not right now.
Right.
And here is why. And this is especially true with expireds. Think of the expired listing as a spouse who just got divorced. And it was a bad divorce. In most cases, divorces are not fun. There was some bickering, some fighting, some disappointment, some anger, some resentment, some fear. You come in as a new suitor, as a new potential spouse. It's going to take a little time first for them to get over it,
right,
to accept the possibility this can work again, to trust you enough to say, okay, that last one was a loser. It didn't work out. I made a bad choice. Let's hope this one will be better. And that usually takes a little bit of time. So that's where your understanding, empathy, patience plays a big role. Still the high status. You're never needy. You're never desperate. You're never like me.
Right.
But you do it with confidence, but also with empathy. Because it's a big deal for most of these folks. You know, most people sold a house maybe once, maybe never. And maybe last time they sold it was 15 years ago. Things have changed so much. I mean, shit, you've been at it for 6 months and how much things changed since then.
Right.
Think about it. You know, so patience, understanding, compassion, go with heart. If somebody is not motivated or they clearly are abusive towards you, they don't respect you, next.
Right.
Okay? So that in a nutshell is the whole process. You program this sucker into your CRM and you just keep firing it off. And the more channels you can incorporate, the better. If you can send them a little Facebook message, become friends on Facebook, awesome. If you can do it on LinkedIn, fantastic. Now, it's best if you have somebody help you do this because it can become a big project in itself to manage the follow-up. So if you can get somebody for a couple hours a day who can come in and do a lot of this stuff for you, you will be freed up to do other stuff where the dollars are. Because a lot of this can be, number one, automated, and number two, delegated. You only step in when it comes to the interaction, the conversations, the exchanges.
Yeah, but based on my turnaround right now, where I'm only closing one deal a month, you know what I mean? It's not sustainable to hire that. So I have to be the marketer, the person, everything. You know how it is.
Very much get what you're saying, but it's backwards. You got it backwards.
Prospector.
You make the big bucks once you're able to do the stuff that generates money and not waste time with stuff that doesn't. So do the math with me. You hire somebody for 2 hours a day and you pay them, what's the going rate? What would you say? Admin help in your area.
I'd just say $12.
$12, fair enough. So it's $12 an hour, that's $24 a day, right?
Right.
You hire them for 5 days a week, so that's $120, am I right? I am horrible at math, so.
Me too, I'm an artist, so.
So yeah, okay, I got this gadget, but I think it's 120. I don't want to embarrass myself because if it's not, that'd be funny as hell. So 24 times 5. So yeah, it's $120. Okay, a week. Now you bought yourself, if they come for 2 hours, times 5 is 10 hours, productive hours. Now imagine what you can accomplish in 10 productive hours. The amount of follow-up you can do, the amount of connections you can do with your sphere, the amount of expireds you can hit, the amount of for sale by owners in 10 extra hours, all for just $120. Can you generate 1 extra listings in 10 hours of effective prospecting?
That would be the goal, yes, obviously.
Is that a possibility?
No, it's a possibility.
Realistic?
Right.
You tell me, I don't know.
Yeah,
My experience has been,
yeah,
I can, if I hustle for 10 hours, I better get a listing.
Right.
Or at least one really good hot lead that I can turn into a listing.
Right.
You with me?
Yeah.
So I get you. It is an investment, but that's what it costs to run a business. You cannot do this by yourself. Not at the level where you want to be.
Okay.
So it's a good investment. I would invest in good assistant before I invest in all the other stuff. Like I would not spend a lot of money on Facebook or doing other things until I have somebody where I can say, hey, you make copies, do this, deliver that, answer this, get this done for me. Because here's the thing. If you don't pay somebody the $24, the $12 an hour, you're doing the $12 an hour and you're earning $12 an hour. It's really that simple. You know? Because you're running a restaurant now. You're the waiter, you're the busboy, you're the
Right.
chef, you're the bartender, you're everybody.
Yeah. That's
So get help.
exactly how I feel.
Get some help. And be creative. Like I hired teenagers for a few
Mhm.
bucks.
Mhm.
I hired one of my best assistants. She came on board. She was like 69. She was a senior citizen. Didn't really need the money.
Right.
She just didn't want to sit home all day.
So you train them though, right? Because I mean, I have to learn how to use Lion Desk first before I hire somebody.
You learn the stuff first, yes. And then you
Okay.
hand it off to them. You explain
Okay.
to them how it's done. Now, I'll give you a couple of quick tips how it's done to be effective. First of all, hire on personality.
Okay.
Don't worry about their computer skills. Don't worry about their technical skills. Don't worry about their education, their background, where they worked before. None of that matters. Because the stuff you're going to be training them to do can be followed just by checklists. So you want a personality. You're looking for their personal traits. What are some of the traits you want? Somebody who can be trusted. Somebody who follows directions. Somebody who is punctual. Somebody who's pleasant to be around. Somebody you can trust who can have a communication with your clients or your prospects. It's pure personality. That's what you want. Somebody who can get the job done, who you can rely on. Whether they have computer skills or design skills or marketing skills or real estate, none of them matters. Personality, personality. Somebody who is trainable, who can follow. If you tell them, do this and do it this way, they will. Or they will figure out a better way and come and tell you. So that's rule number one. Rule number two, you don't want somebody who's ambitious to become a real estate agent. Big mistake. Don't do that. You want somebody who just, and there are plenty of people who say, shit, yeah, 2 hours a day, I have kids, but I can use a little cash and do something useful. Tons of people out there who will jump on it. Okay? Just go outside of the regular, needs to be a college graduate with computer skills and all that. No, don't do that. Okay.
And how do you do this? Under the table?
No. You put them on a payroll.
Put them on a payroll.
I had it set up through my broker because they had like a payroll, the whole thing. So I would just add them to the whole system and I would just write a check twice a month.
Okay.
And they would do like the taxes and deductions and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, super. It's not that hard. I mean, you can get a company who can do that for you, but at level, it's like $100 a month to run a standard payroll where they do the deductions and all that. So
okay.
I wouldn't do that. Okay.
Understood.
So once you have them on board, go through the things you do every day. Just write down everything you do. Notepad, just go down the list. When I start, I do this and this and this and this and this and this. There'll be about 30 or 40 things you're going to have on your list. And then you're going to mark everything that you don't have to do that can be delegated. And then you reorganize it based on what takes a lot of time and what you really hate doing. Like if I take Borino Productions accounting over, we go bankrupt in about 30 days.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Guaranteed, dude. I will sink that fucker in no time. If I have to like write checks and do stuff, forget about it.
Yeah.
So I know that I got to hire somebody who's very good at it, whose job it is to man that ship. And they do. We have people who do that for us, you know? Yeah. So you do the same. Where am I wasting time? What I hate doing or what I'm terrible at that it does not produce dollars. And then you're going to look at the rest of the list. Okay, where are the dollars? Where am I making revenue for my company? Talking to expired listings, definitely. Following up with leads, absolutely. Visiting for sale by owners, doing open houses, doing listing presentations, making my follow-up calls. Those are all very much dollar activities. Focus on those. The rest, you're going to put a checklist together for everything that task requires. This is why the competence is not that important, because you're going to walk them through it. You're going to say, here is how I input a new listing into MLS. Step one, log into MLS, and you write the whole checklist together.
I can do a video too.
You can do video, absolutely. You can do it any way you want. I like to have a checklist because I would make my assistant Lydia, for example, had a big binder. Everywhere Lydia goes, the binder goes. If she works out of the house, the binder is there. If she's in the office, the binder always with her. She would have all the notes, all the logins, everything was there. You can do videos, you can do Google Docs there. How you're going to do it is not that important. But the fact that there's a checklist for everything is vital, and here's why. Number one, you won't stress out because you know the job will get done right. Your assistant doesn't have to improvise, figure things out, follow the checklist for everything. And number two, your assistant will not be stressed out because he or she just follows the checklist. It's easy stuff. And the checklists improve as the systems improve, you improve. You just update your checklist. And here's the best part. They will leave. It's a transitory position. They're not going to stay with you for a long time. So it's not like you're a bad boss or the job sucks. It's just the nature of the business. You have a checklist. Your training was cut in 80%. You don't have to sit there and explain everything in detail, step by step, over and over. You simply give them the big picture. Here is how you do it. Done. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay, get somebody, do it quick. You're gonna see a big difference. And now you're gonna have that fire under your ass to get out there and hustle because you don't have an excuse, number one, and you have an obligation, number two.
Is there any particular questions that you ask when you're interviewing people to get their personality out?
That's a really good question. I don't think so. I don't have one. I don't have like these clever questions or anything. Like my assistant, Roseanne, she's been with me for 5 years. Longest I've ever had somebody work on my staff. I interviewed 2 people and I knew immediately she's the right candidate. Now here's the funny part. The second person I hired as well. I hired them both. So Yulia handles our fulfillment department. Roseanne handles our customer service. I interviewed 2 people, hired them both on the spot, both phenomenal choices. I went by my gut more than anything else.
Okay.
I didn't even read the resume. Like she brought this fancy resume and stuff. I kind of glanced at it because I thought that's what you're supposed to
Have to be able to do, yeah.
But I really didn't know what to look for because you can put that thing anything you want.
Yeah.
So I went straight by personality. Is she pleasant to talk to? Is she trustworthy? Can I have a conversation with her? Can I hand off you guys to her? Because you deal with Roseanne way more than I do with you.
Right.
You know? So it's an instinct. It really is kind of a get the feel. Now you can call references, who they work for and all that. You can do that.
Right.
All that can be set up, you know.
Borino, let me ask you one last question. I know
Yes, sir.
our time's almost up. In regards to the path, just because of tightness of budget right now,
Yeah.
seeing or gauging where I'm at right now, in your opinion, should I wait to a certain amount of time that you've moved along in the path, or should I jump on the path now at this moment? You know what I mean? Because I feel kind of like at this time you're introducing everything. You're introducing the mindset. You're introducing, all this stuff, which I kind of feel that I've grasped, and it's just a budget issue right now. You know what I mean?
Totally understand that. I totally get it. Couple of things I can give you. The path is a sequence. That means if you join right now or join 6 months from now, you're going to go through the same steps.
Okay.
So it's not like if you join 3 months later, you're going to catch up with everybody else. You must go through the sequence. I spent a lot of time designing that sequence, and it's designed in a certain way on purpose to accelerate your success. Now when it feels like, well, shit, dude, it's like the first 12 months is the first part of the path. That ain't acceleration. That feels like a long time.
Right.
But it has its purpose. The rhythm is there by design. Everything is there by design because I was teaching the bootcamp for 4 years. Did you do the bootcamp with me?
No, I just did 6 months ago. I just jumped in 6 months ago.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, the last bootcamp was November.
Mm-hmm.
So I took everything from the bootcamp and made it better. But then I realized if I'm going to try to teach somebody this in 2 months, their head will explode, guaranteed. There's just no way to do that. And the problem was not just in absorbing the information, but actually implementation. So the path is happening on 2 channels, so to speak. One channel is you're going through the path, the main chapters. Each chapter is a 30-day process where you absorb the information and then you have implementation checklists, things you got to do in those 21 days. And then we go to the next one. But in between those, we do other stuff to grow your business, to get you up and running on the leads, appointments, and listings right away. So it's not like that's not going to happen for 6 months. That's happening right away.
Okay.
But we must have a foundation in place. I'm going to add one more thing to it. If you're not making the money you're making right now, probably the first chapter is the most important one. It is also the one people think is the least important one. That's the paradox. People believe I got my mindset ready. I have my desire in place. I read the books. I've been to your stuff. I understand. I got it. I'm a Tony Robbins fan, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're not making the money you're making, it's the mindset first and foremost. It's not the technical issues. It's not the follow-up issues. Get the mindset in place first. And I can help you with that first and foremost. Once we have that foundation in place, we can build all kinds of stuff very quickly. But without it, oh, dude, it's wobbly as hell.
Okay.
It's a much slower process. Okay? So my suggestion would be this. Come on board. It is never about the money. It is never about the money. It's a conditioning that I suffered from for a very long time. Always thinking, well, it's the money. I love the program, but I just don't have the money. Bullshit. It's the story I was telling myself and missed on tons of opportunities. I could be a multimillionaire today, 10 times richer than I am today, if it wasn't for that shitty mindset that was holding me back. Last example before we go. Imagine I show up at your door one morning and I bring keys to my GL450, my Mercedes. And I'll tell you, Renzo, can you get me 10 grand for it? Here's the pink slip, here are the keys, it's yours. It's a lovely black, if you like SUVs, I think you're gonna love that car. I need 10 grand, can you come up with it in 2 hours? Would you be able to?
Honestly, I don't like the Mercedes. But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, though. I know what you're saying.
How about my wife's Lexus? She has a Lexus convertible.
Now, if you say Porsche, I know what you're going with this. But yeah, I would be able to come out. I'd hustle. I'd find a way to make it happen.
Would you find a way? Now, here's the question. Why?
Because if you like the car, right, and that's your desire, that's going to be driving you, it's pushing you to do everything humanly possible to get what it is that you want.
That's number one. But number two, if I give it to you for 10 grand, do you think you can sell it for 60 right now?
Oh, yes. Obviously. Right.
So you see the value in it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The reason people hesitate to do the training with me is for only 2 reasons. It is not about the money. You could come up with the money. If I put a gun to your head, you could come up with the money.
Okay.
If I gave you my Benz, you could come up with the money. So you don't see the value in it.
Okay.
But maybe you say, well, I do see the value. What is the real doubt? There are only 2. You don't believe it's going to work for you, and that's fair. You have the right to doubt it. There's all kinds of shit, people trying to sell you all day long. I get those emails, I know. Either you don't believe it's going to work for you, or, and this is my suspicion it is, you don't trust you're going to follow through. Those are the only 2 reasons. Because think about it this way. If I could show you how to do, let's say you flop miserably and only do 25 deals next year, how much money would you make?
Yeah, you still make more than what I'm making now. You know?
You would be better off, and the path would pay for itself 100 times, whatever. You understand? Yeah. So the reason you doubt that you can do that is either you don't believe in my systems, you believe there's something better out there who can get you there faster. Fair. It's not for everybody. It requires work. Or deep inside, you don't believe you're going to do what it takes, what I tell you to do. And you need to figure out which one it is. If it's the systems, you already got my system. You already know it works. If you use it, it works.
Right.
What do you feel it's really?
I feel and it's not my sales pitch, I believe in your product. And I resonate with you because of your personality, and you don't feel like you're blowing smoke. You know what I mean? And you have the experience where you've come in the past. And maybe it's a paradigm thing. I don't know, but I look at my bank account and I say, what can I afford? What I can't afford? And like you say, I look at this and I say, I see the value in it. I've purchased all the books. So maybe when he gets to this point, that's when I want to jump on board and really fine tune it. But if you're telling me based off your experience that it's backwards, where I should be getting this foundation right, then that'll help me catapult me to the next level. I agree with you, and I'm on board for that. I won't have a problem signing on. My challenge is, I guess, the learning curve, and you being a father, knowing that providing for your family.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's trying to find that learning curve and working efficiently. Because I could bust my hump 18 hours, you're standing in front of the computer, but I want someone that tells me, do this for 4 hours. Yeah. I don't care what you say. Do this for 4 hours, then you do this for 2 hours, and you do this for 6 hours. Do it for 3 months, Gavino, and see what happens. Do this, this, this. Don't give me any excuse. Do that, and I guarantee you, and I know lawyerish talk, I can't guarantee every results are different, but I guarantee you there's going to be results. You're going to get different. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for.
And that's what you're going to get. We break it down in a very simple, digestible, but ambitious steps. Okay. And every 14 days, we're going to hop on a call like this one, not just with you, but other students.
Right.
And I'm going to get my whip out and say, okay, where are you guys? What's going on? Are you getting the shit done? Because you will have the roadmap. Right. I will give you that. You will have a very clear roadmap where to go, both on the growing intellectually, growing mentally, growing your mindset, but also growing practically your business.
Right.
And there'll be checklists. And there is this, I have this thing called On-Track Success Tracker. It will super quick, even you will be able to analyze, where am I fucking up? What's not working? What's working? What do I need more of? What do I have to drop? All that is there.
Yeah, because the best analogy I could think of is that, you know, I'm on this path and I can't see the destination, but right now it's just like I'm on headlights and I can only see a couple steps ahead of me, which means for me on a day-by-day basis, like, you know, okay, you got to do this.
And that's a good place to be.
Right.
That is not a bad place to be, because you want to have only 2 real, imagine this. What city do you live in?
I live in Georgia, Tequila.
Okay. Now imagine you want to drive to Las Vegas. You want to take a nice road trip with your wife, right? You're married?
Uh-huh.
You and your wife drive to Las Vegas, car trip. It would take a couple of days, have fun. So you will need to know two things. One is your final destination.
Right.
And let's make that 50 listings, just for the sake of the illustration. It can be more, it can be less, whatever. It's just a number.
Right.
So that's the main destination. Then we're going to break it down. In order for you to get there, you need to go there first, and there first, and there first. These major milestones on the way. Then we're going to break it down further, like you said, all the way to daily activities. And there'll be only about 3 or 4 really most profitable daily activities you need to focus on to get there. And this will be your small turns, like your GPS. Turn
Right.
here, go 2 miles, turn there, go 100 miles, turn there, all that. So you're going to have that. You're going to have this checklist, and then you're going to do one more thing, which is going to be time blocking it. So not only do you need to know this is what I need to focus on, and here's what I'm after. Let's say speak to 2 expired listings a day. Here's my time block. This is when it needs to be done. So that this way you have accountability, and that sense of overwhelm will go away. Because all you're going to do is tomorrow, you're going to open your calendar at 7 a.m., 6 a.m., whatever. You have it all planned out. And you know where to start. You know what to do.
Right.
And then you're going to have support tools. You're going to have me looking over your shoulder going, dude, don't say that. Say this. Don't do this. Do that. Go at it this way. Or I will look at it. This works great. Do more of that. Or dude, don't ever do this again.
That's what I wanted to know, because I felt just from, what I saw was going to be like you're just doing the videos and talking again, and there wasn't going to be a Q&A or a specific, and I know it's called the path, which is redundant, a specific roadmap to tell you this is what you need to do to get to this milestone and so and so.
Yeah, all of that is there. And then every 14 days, we're going to have private sessions like this one.
Right.
You can be on video, you can be on the phone, or you can just type, whatever.
Right.
I will answer questions. I will do reviews. We're going to do hot seats. There's a whole bunch of, we have a calendar already for 6 months already planned.
Okay.
So you can pre-plan these sessions, and they're not topic specific. In other words, there'll be a theme, but then you tell me, hey, I talked to this FSBO and he asked me this weird thing. Like, what size of your shoes do you wear?
Right.
And we can take care of that. So it'll be all there. And planning is big. I'm big on planning. I don't like big, complicated plans. Because my brain, like you, if it's too complicated, 70 steps and all, fuck no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
I like simple.
Yeah.
If you can accomplish 3 things a day where these are profitable and productive, would that make a difference?
Yeah.
And I would just zero in on what are those 3 things. Because here's the thing. 80% of the dollars you're going to earn come only from 20% of the things you do.
Pareto principle.
We need to figure out what is this 20%. Now, I've been doing this for 20 years. I got pretty good at figuring out what the 20% is. Especially if you're on a budget. Because, it's easy. If you tell me, well, I got $5,000, can we blast it on Facebook?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not hard. Exactly. You just dial it in, do some ads, and you're good. Right. But I suspect people come to me because they need more money, not that they have too much and they want to figure out how to spend it. So.
Yeah, and that's what resonated with you, Borino, because I was in my industry for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I had kids who would come to me and say they want to learn what I would do. And I knew specifically what to teach them to make them marketable, that I could take them and turn around and go to a high ranking place and jump this whole part. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And yes, I would work on their mindset, the way they thought, how they presented themselves, the way they communicated, and all these things that were tangible. But I knew specifically, and I told them what to do. You need to give me this by this deadline, and it has to look like this. Don't give me any excuse. Do it. You know what I mean? If you want results, you tell me how bad you want it. So I guess somehow, some way, I want that type of same teaching to me, where they tell me this is what you need to do, to get the success. And if you're telling me that's what's going to be there, then I'm on board, man. Not
only am I telling you this, hold me to it. Like if you feel, dude, I need more. Can you give me more specific? Or can you give me more this, more that? I'm there for you guys. That's all I'm doing. I don't have any other projects. I canceled. I was invited to speak at a bunch of conferences. All canceled. I'm not doing anything. I may do one for a friend, 2 friends, lab codes agents.
Yes.
But other than that, this is my time to really focus on you guys. And it's not going to be a big group. I don't want a big group. I could get 2,000 people if I wanted. I don't want that. It'd be overwhelming. But I want people like you who say, dude, I want this. I want this bad. I have family. I have kids. I got to take care of shit. Get me going. I'll get you going.
All right. Sounds good.
And I'll be there. So it's not like, here's the book, good luck,
Yeah, that's what I feared. I didn't want it to be like that. Here's the book, good luck, and catch me on a 14. You know what I mean?
No, no. We will do these calls frequently. Now, this is not one-on-one. I want to make sure.
Right. Yeah, I understand that.
That would be impossible because we already
Yeah.
have a few hundred people who sign up for it. So
Understood.
time-wise would not be possible.
Yeah.
But there'll be plenty of opportunity for us to interact. We have the
Okay.
Facebook group. We're going to have the Q&A sessions. And I'll stay for as long as you guys want me to. As long as you have questions, it's not like, oh, hour's up by, you know.
Right.
Because I know how other training is. I know. Or they yell at you for 30 minutes. Oh, you didn't memorize your scripts. And you know,
Yeah. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
now, if your dialogues need to improve, if you come across as either nervous or needy or it's not working, I'll tell you. We'll work on that. But I will also give you tools. Here's how you work on it. Here's what you need. You know.
Right.
And you have the materials. So a lot of it you're already familiar with, meaning we're not starting at zero, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Helpful?
That was good, man.
All right, brother. Good time. I enjoyed chatting with you.
Me too, Borino.
Keep me posted, Renzo.
All right.
All right, Ben.
Stay on the
Have a good one.
interwebs.
We'll talk soon.
See ya.
Bye.